Hi, welcome to the Open Day at Inholland. This is the English session of our live stream, and you're watching this. We're talking about international students here at Inholland. So, yes, welcome. So my name is Joy, and like I said, I'm going to be talking about international students right here at Inholland. I have a few guests at the table, so we're going to cover this topic. If you are interested in any other topics, for instance, the courses that we teach, then have a look around at this online platform and you can find any information that you're looking for. If you're interested in studying abroad right here in the Netherlands, stay with us. We're going to talk about that. Let's kick off. I want to ask you to introduce yourselves. Jonathan, you first.
Yes, of course. I'm Jonathan Evans. I'm a lecturer on the International Creative Business in The Hague.
Right.
And I've been there now for almost a couple of years. And I work with a lot of the Year 4 students especially, and also in the Year 1 and for finance, sometimes in Year 2 as well. So I work on a range of projects with international students.
Right. And where are you from originally?
I'm actually from Wales in the UK.
Nice. Simon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Simon Poulser. I'm a teacher at Inholland. I work now on our location in Delft in aeronautical engineering. I've been working for Inholland and living in the Netherlands now. I'm originally from the UK as well, like Jonathan, for just over 20 years. So I came, I saw, I don't know about conquered, but I came and I stayed at least. And I have the pleasure of getting involved in a lot of international projects, as do our students, of course.
Amazing. And you, Dalimir?
And yes, I'm Dalimir. I'm originally from Slovakia, and I'm a second-year student in aeronautical engineering from Delft, or
nice.
studying in Delft. Yeah.
Good to have you here. Wow, I think we have.
Yeah,
I think we have a lot of things to talk about because I'm very interested in everything that makes us international, and of course your experiences with that. Let's see, Dalimir, for you first. What had you decide to come to the Netherlands to do this study?
For me, it was mainly the opportunity to go abroad, get to know more people, because then you have more of an international community as well. So you know people from all around the world when you study abroad as well. And also just the opportunities in the Netherlands are better than back in my home country. And as well, the subject I study is not really taught back in my home. So
really?
Those are the main reasons why I decided to go abroad.
Nice. And did you specifically choose the Netherlands, or it was just where the study was?
I looked into more. I looked mainly into the aerospace, aeronautical engineering sector, and Netherlands came out as the best.
Nice.
So here I am.
Great. And Simon, you made the choice some time ago to come to the Netherlands. Why did you make that choice?
Yes, I originally came as a student, in the sort of late 90s. And I enjoyed the student experience here, and then through sort of personal circumstances and life, if I can put it that way, I was offered a job as a teacher within Holland, and without a really clear intention to stay. But like a lot of people, I think, who come to the Netherlands, they found that it sort of suited them, and a lot of opportunities here. And ever since then, I've never had any regrets. So it wasn't a sort of carefully, strategically thought-out decision, but it's turned out, in my case, like a lot of other people here, I think, to be a good decision. I think the Netherlands scores quite high on sort of livability factor, studyability factor. So I've never regretted it, absolutely.
Amazing. Is it the same for you, Jonathan?
Yeah. Actually, I would say, and I really relate to also, let's say, the livability aspect as well. And I think a part of me also moving was Brexit. So things weren't looking so good in the UK where I was in, really. And this kind of, the field that this is in as well wasn't really flourishing in some of the areas I was in. So it was just a great opportunity for me to be here. And also my wife was already here too. So she was studying. So there was another reason to come.
Yeah.
And I think, exactly, the livability, like for me, is a fantastic thing about the Netherlands.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds amazing. I can imagine, though, that it's kind of hard to move to a different country. Dalimir, what helped you the most to really find your place here?
It's very funny in my situation because since I'm second year, I took my first year last year, and we all know there was a situation going on.
Yeah.
So I did my whole entire first year still from Slovakia. So it was, I would say, hardest to find a place to stay because by the time I started looking, I wasn't the only one because it was me and all the second year people and everyone looking for places. So it was hard. It took me about half a year to find a place to live.
Wow.
Gosh.
Somewhere in the
It's
region.
a long time, actually, to find a place to live. Half a
Yes, for about 3 months I lived with my sister. She also lives in the Netherlands, so I stayed at her place for a time until I found myself something.
Yeah, and what helped you to eventually find something?
I would just not give up. Every week I would send a lot of requests and I would go to the viewings. And I just hope one day someone will actually like me. And I found a place at the end.
Wow. I can imagine that, like, starting a course is pretty hard and pretty exciting and, well, also very scary, I can imagine. And then also having to find a place.
Yes, it was interesting because my sister lives in Tilburg, which is about 1.5 hours train. So I would take 1.5 hours train to Delft and back every day.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. But I survived, and now here I am.
Yeah. Everything's sorted out.
Yes.
Nice.
Now living. Okay.
Sounds amazing. Simon, are there more students that have to cope with this sort of thing?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, as Dalamir said, obviously it's been a special situation. It's trying to avoid the C word, maybe. But it's been a sort of special situation over the last couple of years. So that resilience and that sort of persistence that Dalamir alluded to, it's been a challenging time for everyone, I guess, and particularly for sort of new students. I think, the Netherlands, the culture here is quite welcoming. Within Inholland, there's a sort of support structure that can help you with the sort of pragmatic things of life and support you in that process. So I think if you start with the right attitude and that sort of proactive, I'm going to make a success of it type of attitude, there's certainly the potential there. So for me, that's key. That you come and you have a sort of drive and an enthusiasm to make a success of it. And certainly in the Netherlands and within Holland, there are plenty of opportunities to take and to enjoy and to sort of grab hold of.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I can imagine that, Jonathan. The students that come to the Netherlands to study, they're very motivated. Because if you're not gonna study abroad, right?
Yeah, exactly. The motivation is key. And I actually interviewed a few students in my role as the personal development tutor as well. And those students, they all said housing was one thing. They definitely said it was, starting off it, especially in this area, it can be extremely difficult to find housing. And I think, I really empathise with that specific situation. That's one situation. That's not alone. There's many others like that. But I think the support system is really key, and that's what I think. Actually, the university has stepped up in some of those areas as well, actually, to start providing that support as kind of the pastoral support for students. So, yes, it can absolutely be tricky when it's starting off, and even actually as you're going along, if you want to be moving somewhere else, it can also take a few months as well if you want to move somewhere or to get embedded somewhere else. So,
Yeah, that was my question for you, Dalamir. What were some troubles that you faced kind of fitting into the culture?
Culture, well, one good thing was that, as I said, my sister lived here, so I already had a bit of a background. Like, I knew somewhat what I'm expecting. But it's always a bit different because every place is a little bit different, so I would say it was mainly hardest to find. Again, looking for the places that one big requirement was you need to speak Dutch. And
really?
I just didn't have time to do that because I had the school to take care of and other problems, so I didn't yet had time to study Dutch or be able to speak Dutch in a level where it can be taken as I can live at Dutch-only house.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I said the biggest because sometimes we just skim through all the available rooms and you can't apply to any of them because they are like...
How did you encounter that then? If you saw that in those... You still tried with those applications or did you just stop there at that stage?
Sometimes I tried.
Yeah.
But most of the time they were like, we're sorry, we're looking for someone who speaks Dutch or someone who is Dutch. So it's demotivating, but it worked in the end.
Yeah, I can imagine too, yes.
And it's understandable. I can imagine people don't really feel like speaking English when they're home. So I don't blame anyone. It's just very hard
Yeah.
for an international person.
Yes, exactly. And are there any big differences with Slovakian culture and the Dutch culture that you had to...
Yes, there definitely are. Few that I can think of. For example, in Slovakia, we eat dinner later than most Dutch people. And later, I mean about 2 hours later. So sometimes, as I said, I live with my sisters, and she used to live in a student house with about 15 people. And sometimes, after a whole day, you want to hang out with people. So you came home, started eating dinner, and no one was home because they already ate like 2 hours ago. So it was interesting, I might say. But I wouldn't say I would have the bigger clashes with the culture than that. Maybe the cycling culture is not very a thing back at home, but it's something that's very easy to get used to. So now I have a bike and I can go anywhere, so
Yeah.
I like that.
Nice. That's only a good thing.
Yes.
Nice.
It's good.
And Simon, for you, you've been here a while, but...
Yeah. For me, I mean, in Dutch they have the word inburgering, which means sort of acclimatization and a sort of, acculturation. For me, it was a sort of process gradually. I mean, every culture, the UK, wherever you're from, Slovakia, has its own sort of habits and rituals. So yeah, absolutely. But I mean, in general terms, I'd say the Dutch is a culture, and the Netherlands is a country which is used to welcoming foreigners historically. So on both sides of the equation, on the sort of incomer and the sort of home culture type of thing, there's a welcome and there's a sort of positive energy, I think. And for me, it was as Dalamir said, there are challenges, and sometimes there are paperwork things and that type of process. But in terms of the sort of more social aspects, for me, it's been a really positive experience. I've been made to feel welcome, both in my sort of non-professional life, but also within my Inholland experience. I've found a place where I feel at home. So absolutely, and obviously, food and that type of thing, and sometimes for St. Martin students, I don't know if there's any watching, and, people talk about the climate and that sort of thing. That's something I hear from students, but as a sort of British guy, for me, that's not such a big deal. I'm sure Jonathan would say that's maybe less of a problem. But so for me, it's been it's been a sort of enrichment rather than a sort of negative thing.
Sounds amazing. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, exactly. I'd say it's the same. It's been very enriching, and I was coming here quite a lot before. I've got some family friends, so I've visited Netherlands many times before I even came here. So I think it wasn't so much of a culture shock for me, and I think the similarities with the British culture and also Dutch culture can sometimes be quite strong. So I haven't felt really too much, but I think with students, sometimes they do really feel it, of course, and that can be a challenge for them.
Yeah. I can imagine, yeah. And of course, like you said, you study with so many students who come from everywhere, all around the world. What do you think is a value that brings that?
Well, that's a good question, I have to say. I would say it's interesting to actually know the people, because you can say Slovakia does neighbor with Poland, but I don't personally know many, I didn't know a lot of Polish people, so when I actually meet the people and see we're kind of similar or kind of different. So it's I would say sometimes funny to find how people react and how people work sometimes, because again, one of the big things I noticed is that Dutch people are more structured and more are their agendas and stuff than in Slovakia, at least from my experience, because I'm not that type of person. So it's interesting to meet people who have agendas for their agendas, but at the same time, it's nice. I would say it's just know people, and you have more connections, and it could be interesting sometimes.
I'm sure Dalamir will remember. It just reminded me, just triggered me a little bit. That in year one, Dalamir, I don't know if you can remember, you were involved in a project group which I was coaching.
Yes.
And there was you, a Slovakian guy. We had a Nigerian guy, and it was in the pandemic time when he was, reporting in with slightly limited Wi-Fi sometimes, and a German student. and I can't remember who was the rest of the group. And it was a little bit of a challenging process for the students and for myself as the coach. So we found our way through it. And again, it's a sort of experience, certainly for me as a teacher, that you keep learning all the time. But it just triggered me down here. That was an experience that you and I we both shared, but not without its challenges at the time, if I recall.
I'm sure quite challenging. There were a lot of challenges for that project. Yeah.
Can you name some?
Well, for example, about the usual size of a group was 8 people, but after a few months, my group shrank to 4.
Wow.
So that was a big challenge because now basically everyone has to take a lot more work that we're used to, and then we were all split around the world, so communication was sometimes questionable, and
Actually, you say a good point there with the group work. That was a group work project, right? So
yes.
That can be something that's really interesting with all the different, all these people around the world, the nationalities that are there. It can be actually quite fascinating when you're in those kind of group projects to be able to work together. Is that one of the challenges you found sometimes in that one specifically?
Yes, because we had a German girl and a Dutch girl, so they were very much structured, and then there was me. But I did all my work. I tried, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, now I'm going to work from this hour till this hour on this, so I can give you what I have. It was like more of I did what I felt doing that day, or what I thought I can do that day, and they were sometimes not happy with it.
Were there some opportunities in that as well, though? That's a challenge, but also some opportunities from those different ways of working with the students. I'm intrigued.
Definitely. I definitely tried when, for example, after every one of our meetings, we try to have regular meetings, we try to make a tasks list with everything written down, which was very interesting, and I'm still doing it till now because it's very helpful. Because sometimes you forget, sometimes you don't prioritize the things the way you should prioritize them, or the thing you want to prioritize. So that's something I found very interesting, and I'm still applying it to each project. And what more?
We had to find a little bit of a way. I can remember on certain occasions at certain meetings. And it's great. It's great, also as a teacher, no matter how long you've been doing it, you keep learning, and different groups throwing up different challenges and trying to find solutions a little bit pragmatic, while sort of maintaining the academic standards, obviously.
Exactly. The flexibility, in our role as teachers, right? We have to be flexible in those groups as well, because not everything's going to work maybe in the theory that we want them to, but that is the joy of it at the same time.
Absolutely. You think on your feet a little bit, and you're trying to find, every group is a little bit different. So the dynamics of the group and trying to get that process to an end result, that project sticks with me a little bit. It was certainly a good experience for me.
Yeah, it was a very good first experience for me as well. Things just started to fall apart, but we still just pushed through, and I think we made a very good project.
I think so, absolutely.
Still managed though.
Yeah, I can imagine that's incredibly interesting to be in. Do any of you have experience with the Student Success Center?
I do.
Yeah?
I do, absolutely. I work in Delft, and the Student Success Center, SSC, they refer to it as the SSC, the famous SSC, have been very proactive with us, and particularly in the international area, to encourage participation of colleagues as well, and people like myself and my colleagues getting asked to participate in events. Some more sort of vocationally, so some in Dutch they call beroeps, more sort of actually to do with the profession that you're studying for. Some social events as well, and quite often it's sort of a little bit of a combination of the two. So we've found, and I think a lot of students in Delft, and I'm sure in all the different Inholland locations, have found it a real source of support. I know the attitude is that students are encouraged to sort of drop in, so they don't necessarily need to have a formal appointment. I know there's a famous Indra, our famous colleague in Delft, excuse me naming her. She's always got sort of sweets available.
I don't think she'll like you naming her, will she?
I think she'll be happy, but she's always got sweets available, and she's happy to sort of get coffee for the students. So there's always that, but with a sort of purpose behind it. So that sort of
so important,
combination.
Though. That is so important. And I say in The Hague, we have the same kind of approach. You can just come in and you don't have to always make an appointment. Yeah. So it's just that warm environment when you come in there, and then you can start to actually connect with what's going on in the city or in the other locations as well at Inholland. So I think that's a really, really important part of somewhere like the Study Success Centre.
Yeah.
And I personally started coaching a few students through SSC. They just approached being like, hey, I'm struggling with math. Can you help me with math? and then one person to the other person, and now I'm coaching. So
Nice.
So yeah, and again, Andrea is our Dutch mom. So she always takes care of us.
Amazing. And I can imagine that really helps make you feel at home when you come from a different country.
I mentioned the Dutch mum, so she's teaching you a few of the ways to be in the Netherlands, which I think is important for students listening in.
Definitely.
Like, you can find those Dutch mums or Dutch fathers.
Exactly. She always, like, when I say struggle with something, she's like, yeah, maybe you can try it this way, or she's like, yeah, it's okay, just have a chocolate, it'll be fine.
Oh,
it's very nice.
That sounds very nice. Well, we have a video about the Study Success Center, so let's have a look.
Alright, let's be honest. There's a lot coming your way being a student. Using tools like Trello, Miro, Moodle, honestly, who made those names up? What? You have to get to know the building, get to know each other. But no worries. The SSC is here to the rescue. The what now? You know, the Student Success Center. Who doesn't know it, right? You can go there to check out cool events and workshops. But also for personal issues, like stress, loneliness, or whatever is bothering you. Our student buddies help you deal with whatever comes your way as a student. The SSC is of course also happy to help you online. Totally 21st century, you know? Drop by anytime. The door is always open. The Student Success Center, for your success.
Well, that sounds exactly like you said it was. Amazing. So this is something that helps, of course, adjust to being in the Netherlands. Are there any other things that really help students that come here adjust to being here and to studying here?
Well, for me, great help was I joined a student team. I was asked to join a student team, and for me it was nice because I had to meet people who have the same passion and we have the same goals. It was very nice because then all just told me like, hey, how come you don't know this? And I'm like, well, now I know now. So they helped me a lot. So yeah, I would say that was one of the big things. And one good thing was that already by the time I moved, there were already people living here. I already made friends because I already had entire first year, so I already knew. So sometimes when I would have to like stay over in Delft, I would just call a friend and be like, hey, can I drop at your couch tonight? Because I didn't have time to go to Tilburg.
Yeah.
And it would all be fine with that. So it was, for me, that was nice as well. It already has a bit of a connection, a bit of a web, you can say.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think the sort of shared interests. So it could be sport. It could be joining a sports club or a sports activity. Obviously, music. In-Holland locations are quite sort of dynamic places where a lot happens, and there's a canteen quite often, and there's maybe other stuff, a table tennis table. So it works at a sort of formal level, and sometimes obviously a less formal level, and a lot of extracurricular stuff. I can see that Dalamir has got something next to him.
Yes,
which maybe
something.
Very intrigued by myself. It's a rocket. Can you explain maybe about the rocket?
Well, yes, this is Inimini Kilo. As the name suggests, it's a small version of Akilo, which Akilo is the name of our student team, and each of our rockets is called Akilo as well. We build, test, and design rockets, and it's, like I said, the extracurricular, and since we have a bit of a smaller team, it's always very like a warm atmosphere, so we all know each other and we are having fun together. Sometimes we just make team buildings together, but we also actually work on the rockets, and it's a good environment because we both apply the knowledge we like the theory we learn, but at the same time you need to learn a lot more because just the theory itself doesn't. It's more of a general part. So if you need something more specific, you need to make your own research.
Yeah, you've worked from the theory, and now this is the practice. This is what you've now put theory into practice with this nice rocket.
This is small rockets.
Small rocket, but there are bigger ones then.
Yes.
It's the one you can take on the train.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so we usually work in so-called a high-power rocketry, which is rockets which are about as tall as I am, and they fly out to around 2.5, 3 kilometers. So that's about as much as we can legally fly in the Netherlands. But then we are also pushing forwards. We're building a rocket now that can fly to 10 kilometers. So it's, again, make a whole new world because there's different speeds and different performance and different materials we need to use. But also legally we can't fly in Netherlands. So now we're searching for other places to launch. So now we're looking for a place in Poland. But yeah, there's a situation there as well right now.
Yeah.
So we will see about that. But also this October, we were successfully selected to compete, to participate in a Rocketry Competition, so-called EuRock, which is a yearly competition for student rocket teams, and that will be in Portugal.
Amazing.
So I guess it's something new because it's the first time we're promoting ourselves and competing as well with our rockets.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for us.
And this is from within your study team that does this?
Yes, this is all of our study team. We are
Nice.
parallel to the studies, but our people are from the studies, but we are separate as well. We are student team.
Amazing. I barely hear a study team that really puts, like you said, the theory into practice, the things that they learn in school, and then actually do something with it, and not just drink beer and have a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually, yeah, it's a really good point. That's an absolutely fantastic example. I think that's amazing what your study team has done. And I think, yeah, we're kind of trying in the international creative business and in creative business to actually go out to field trips and to see places. So we're starting to do that now a lot more because the education is not just happening in the campus. It's also happening outside it. The different events you're going to, the people you're speaking to, the networking. That's such a crucial part that there is also for, I think from year 1 through to year 4, it's a crucial part of the student life as well, that they actually experience the world, right? It's rather than just campus life all the time.
Definitely. Do you think there are opportunities for international students to go on and work in the Netherlands, even when they don't speak Dutch?
Yeah, there's actually, yes, of course, it helps speaking Dutch, of course it does, but there are lots of opportunities, and I would say the internship program, the study abroad program can really, really help to start to broaden the horizons, but the internship program specifically, I have seen that as well as being like a route within employment. So even if it's not that same place later, you've still made connections elsewhere that then you can actually start to look for employment later because you've already done practice, and I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit of an example of that myself personally, because it's exactly what you sketched, Joy, happened to me, and it's great for us teachers. I'm sure it's the same for Jonathan that. Everyone's on LinkedIn, so you see all the students, almost on a daily basis, old students that you remember, and quite a lot of them have stayed in the Netherlands, absolutely international students who did stay in the Netherlands and found a life and found a profession and have sort of developed the whole picture of their life has changed as it did for me. So absolutely, and we are a University of Applied Sciences, in Dutch, the HBO thing. So exactly, so the relationships that we develop as students also with the professional field are really so important. Yeah. So if you're a communication student, you're looking for companies and you're doing an internship somewhere, Dalamir, in the technical field, or if in whichever study field that you choose. Inholland's got a pretty broad network of contacts in the professional field, and you'll be stimulated and encouraged to get involved, get out there, get your sort of hands dirty, metaphorically speaking. Yeah. And it's a big part, man. It certainly worked for me personally, and I take great pleasure in seeing it working for a lot of other students.
Exactly. It's the dare to learn. I think that's one of the statements that we have, right, is the dare to learn, and I think that is something that we really, really do try to encourage, is just to get out there and sometimes make mistakes and sometimes just, you have failures. That's perfectly fine. I'm sure you failed with many rockets so far. So that's not a problem as long as then you start picking yourself up and you do more again, and then you can succeed.
In the team, we believe in failures.
Yeah, of course.
We try, we learn. We fail, we try it again. Because
it's the only way, actually, really, to actually have full learning, right? You can't have successes every time. There are going to be
sometimes it works out the first time, sometimes you try something new and you find out that's not the good way to go.
99 times for Edison, wasn't
it? Basically, in theory, yeah.
Amazing. Wow, that's such a nice topic to finalize everything. I have one last question for each of you, and that is, what do you like the most about Inholland? Starting with you.
It's a very hard question, I have to say. I would say I would like to say everything. There's not much I would say I don't dislike about Inholland, so I enjoy my time. I have to say that.
Good. That's good to hear. Everything. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's also a sort of general answer, a little bit like Dalamir's. I enjoy the fact that in my working life, when I wake up in the morning or on a Sunday evening, and I'm sort of contemplating the week ahead of me, or getting up and getting to work, I have a buzz about me. So obviously there are specific things, and I've had the opportunity to travel a lot and do teaching jobs in other places for short periods, and that's the sort of, the sort of icing on the cake type of thing. But for me, it's this sort of the daily stuff. I enjoy the daily interaction with students like Dalamir, talking to people and spending a little bit of time by the coffee machine and hearing about their lives and their aspirations and what they want to do and playing a little bit of a role in trying to make that happen. That even after all the years that I've been involved in education, it still gives me a real buzz.
Amazing. That's good to hear. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say probably for me it's the actual openness of the whole program that I'm in, the International Creative Business in The Hague. And I think actually the collaboration between the different places we're at, that's with students and with staff members, that has been absolutely phenomenal for me. Yeah, I really also relate to the fact that, I'd say like every Sunday night I'm actually looking forward to my week. And I think that has been a contrast for some of my, I'd say like some of my roles in education before. I haven't felt that kind of buzz as well. So I think the buzz and openness would be for me.
Amazing. Wow. What? That's so nice to hear.
Look at the energies now.
Yeah, the
rising
energy
in this
is.
room.
I 100% agree with
Yes.
that.
Energy is perfect in this room. Thank you so much for answering the questions.
Absolutely no problem, Joy. Thank you very much
And
as well.
thank you. And everyone at home, thank you so much for watching. We have another live session at 2 o'clock that will be for parents. So if your child wants to come to the Netherlands and study at Inholland, I advise you to come and watch. It will be in Dutch though, so be sure to check that. And if you have any other interest in the courses that we teach, make sure to check the online platform. And we hope to see you anytime in the Netherlands at Inholland. Thank you for watching.